friends, welcome back to my channel. For today, I thought it would be fun to show you my book collection here at school. Obviously, I have many more books at home, but I thought it'd be fun to show you what I thought would be the best books to bring with me to have on a day-to-day basis. So I'll just jump into these huge piles and show you what I brought with me. So the first one I have here is called Because You Love to Hate Me. And it's a series of little short stories all about like villains, and I think how it worked was 13 different authors collaborated with 13 different booktubers and created these little short stories together. And I haven't read it yet. It came out forever ago. I just haven't really gotten a chance to sit down with this yet, but I'm so excited too. I mean, the cover alone is gorgeous. These purples, the gradient in the flower, I mean, it's all just incredible. I mean, just the cover itself tells me I'm gonna love this book. I can't wait to jump in and just read some of these. So I'm so excited to get into this eventually, and I thought it'd be a great thing to have here at school to just grab quickly if I want to just quick little short story. The next two books I have are Mrs. Mike and The Search for Joyful by Benedict and Nancy Friedman. These are, I think, books that my mom had, and she was like, oh, you might enjoy them, so I decided to bring them with me to school. I don't really know anything about them, but I figured can't hurt to have them, just another extra book to kind of, you know, have in case I'm in the mood for it. And also, they've got these really pretty signs, so I thought they would look great on my bookshelf. That's really was part of my planning in that. The next one I have is Self-Editing for Fiction Writers, and this is by Rennie Brown and Dave King. And I am an English major with a creative writing track. I'm sure if you've seen some of my other videos, you know that. So it can't hurt to have a book about editing and how to do it yourself. So I figured this would be a great thing to just kind of read through as I kind of get more work done and get more involved in this writing world. The next book I have is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. This is one of my favorite books. I love this book so much. So, you know, I didn't have it with me initially, and I was just so sad, like, not having it near me, even if I wasn't reading it. So one of the times I went back home, I picked it up and brought it back with me. I can't wait to reread this again. It is such a great book. It always just reminds me why I love literature so much. So if anybody out there loves reading or English or literature or whatever, and you haven't read Jane Eyre, I could not recommend it enough. It is incredible. The next book I have here is The Da Vinci Code. I have not read this book. I just haven't yet. And my best friend got it for me for my birthday, I think last year, and I've just kind of been waiting to like get in a mood to really read a lot again. I've been so bad recently, so I have this for as soon as I'm ready to read it because I can't wait. I've heard great things about it, and it was such a nice gift from my friend, so I have that. The next book I have is The Hero with a Thousand Faces by Joseph Campbell. This was a Christmas gift I got years ago from my uncle, and it's an amazing book. I've like read bits and pieces here and there, and then I keep like, my problem kept being that like I was having trouble just reading nonfiction, so I would have to switch back to something fiction and then go back and forth. So I haven't read the entire thing, but the pieces that I've read so far I've loved. It's so interesting. It's so just awesome. So if you are a writer or a reader, or you just love story and you want to understand it more, read this book. It just explains everything so well, and it's so thought-provoking and wonderful. So thank you, Uncle Chris. And then his wife, my aunt, actually recommended this book called We Are Legion, We Are Bob. It's a sci-fi book. I don't remember the exact premise. Something about like a guy named Bob or something named Bob, and there's a lot of like copies or something. I don't really remember all the details, but when she was telling me about it, it sounded so incredible. I had to pick up a copy. The next thing I have is a treasury of classic poetry, I love poetry. I love reading poetry, so I thought that this would just be a great book to have. And like, look how pretty it is. I got it from like Barnes & Noble a couple of years ago, and it's just so nice to have like all this classic poetry like in one place. So if I'm ever just in the mood for that, I can just open this and have it at the ready. The next book I have is Stephen King's On Writing. It's a little dusty. I love this book. We read it in my creative writing class in high school, and I just like, it was so incredible. It was such a great experience just to read it and to learn so much more about Stephen King, because I haven't really read any of his books because it's just never been my thing. But after reading this, I want to read all of them, and I think it just has such great craft advice. And even if you're not a writer and you don't need the advice about how to write, just listening to his story and the things he says, read it anyway. It's so good. The next thing I have is How to Think Like an Anthropologist by Matthew Engelk, I think. And I bought this over the summer to kind of like prepare, oh, I'm out of focus, to kind of prepare for my anthropology class that I'm taking this semester. And I didn't get to finish reading it because I was still reading it when the class started, and it was kind of hard to focus on what this was saying and what my professor was saying, because it was talking about different parts of anthropology. And so I wanted to be able to just focus on my class, get my good grades there, and then I can come back to this, you know, next semester over winter break or something. So I'm excited to kind of get back into this. It was just very interesting to read and learn about, and I think it'll be fun once I kind of have a basic understanding of all of it to go back with that mindset. The next book I have is Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad. This book is about the genocide in the Congo, and it is heart-wrenching. It is an incredible book, and it's very short. It's only, what is this, 74 pages. It's 74 pages long, which even though it's so short, like, every word counts. It's, I mean, breaks your heart to read it, breaks your heart to understand what happened and just how awful and horrific and just, I mean, horrifying all of it was. But it's definitely worth reading. Conrad did an incredible job just bringing that horror to life, and so I definitely recommend this book too. It's short, it won't take too long to read. The next book I have here is There's Someone Inside Your House by Stephanie Perkins. I loved her series, The Anna and the French Kiss, Lola and the Boy Next Door, and Isla and the Happily Ever After. I loved those books. So when I saw she had a new book coming out, I knew I had to get it, and I did. And again, I'm waiting to read it. I have not read it yet. I cannot wait to. I think that'll be really, really fun. And I heard something about it becoming a movie or a show or something, so that will be awesome to see. The next one I have is Heartless by Marissa Meyer, who wrote the Lunar Chronicles. I, again, loved that series, so when I saw she had this new book coming out, I had to buy it. Again, I haven't read it yet. I read like the first couple of pages, and then I got swamped with a bunch of work, so I had to like wait to go back to it, but I can't wait to. It's a nice, thick book. I can't wait to just get involved in this storyline. I love how Marissa Myers brings fairy tales to life in a new way. It's so just fun and consuming, and I cannot wait to dive into this one. And on the same kind of realm of bringing fairy tales to life in a different way, we have Dorothy Must Die by Danielle Page. I've heard such incredible things about this book, and my aunt's college roommate, I believe, was the one who wrote this book, so she was telling me even more about it. So I finally bought it and started to read it and was really enjoying it, and then again got swamped with work and hadn't had a chance to pick back up yet, but this is definitely next on my list. The next thing I have here is In the Time of the Butterflies by Julia Alvarez. I don't really remember a lot about the premise of this book. My cousin had recommended it to me, said he loved it, so I picked it up, and I'm just kind of, again, waiting for time to be able to sit down and read it. I'm so excited. I think it's going to be really, really great. The next one I have is My Sister's Keeper by Jodi Picoult. I love this book. I try to read this book every single year because I think that I need the emotional, like, release that this book brings me. I cry like a baby reading this book, and it's just so well written. Like, not only do I learn more about the book every time I read it, but I learn more about my own craft in writing. I learned so much about just writing and techniques by just reading this book. So incredible. I recommend it to everyone in the whole wide world. I have not seen the movie. However, I'm mad at the movie because I found out that they like switched around the ending in the movie, and I don't like how they did it. I might I might watch the movie once just to like be angry at it and then go back and read this book right after. But if you've seen the movie, don't think that you know what's going to happen in the book, because you don't. The next book I have is, like I was talking about, Isla and the Happily Ever After by Stephanie Perkins. I don't know if you can tell, but this book is definitely well loved. It is just like, I've got, you know, pieces of the cover coming off and whatever. I've read this so many times, I have lost count. I just love her style. It moves very quickly, but not so much that you're like lost or you're like, okay, that was too fast. It's so incredible. I can't say enough nice things, and if I try, then we'll be here for a very, very long time. So I'm just going to tell you, buy this book, read this book, you will thank me later. Okay, we're down to the last two. This one, actually both of these are nonfiction books. This first one is The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson. If you've been here for a little while, you know that I did a book review on his other book, Everything is Fucked, a book about hope, I believe it's called, and I loved that book, so I immediately had to read this. And I started to read it, but at the time I had just read like a few nonfiction books in a row, and my mind was a little like overwhelmed by it, so I had to put it down. I'm kind of giving my mind a little bit of a rest from nonfiction, and I'm so excited to go right back into this and pick it up. I have a cruise in a couple weeks that I'm going on, so I think maybe I'll bring this with me. I'll have to decide what I'll bring with me, but I need to get back into reading. I miss it so much. And this last book I have is from the Harvard Business Review's 10 Must Reads, and it's called On Managing Yourself. And what they do is they compile different articles on a certain topic. And I thought that this sounded really, really interesting. Again, once I'm getting really back into nonfiction, I can't wait to just dive into this. And my dad happened to have a copy of it, so he let me have it. And I'm so excited to kind of just read it and see what these people are saying, because clearly Harvard Business Review, like, that's a real deal. So hopefully I'm going to read that book and then just become like the most productive person you have ever seen. I'm really excited about all of these books, the ones I've already read, the ones I haven't, the ones that I don't really know much about. I can't wait to get through all of them. I love having them right here with me, and I hope that some of these books made you want to buy some of them yourself. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will see you in the next one. Let me know in the comment section down below what books you have to have wherever you are. Bye!